Hey Pisces, I need to share something with you today that honestly gave me chills when these cards came through. You know how sometimes you just know someone has been thinking about you? Well, this situation is so much deeper than that. This person, this individual who caused you so much pain, they actually went and got their own reading about you. And what they discovered about what you truly think of them, about how you really see them now, it literally brought them to their knees. I am not exaggerating when I say the universe has some serious revelations to show us today about this karmic situation. So grab whatever you need to be comfortable because we are going deep into this energy today. This is going to be a genuine journey through what is actually happening in the spiritual realm around you and this person. And I have to tell you, the cards are showing me something that is both fascinating and incredibly validating for everything you have been through. Before we start, I just want you to know that this reading is specifically for you, Pisces. If this resonates, if this feels like your situation, then this message is absolutely meant for you. The energy here is very specific, very clear, and very focused on a karmic situation where someone hurt you deeply and is now facing the consequences of their actions in ways they never anticipated. All right, let me tell you what happened when I sat down with these cards today. The very first card that came through, and I found this so interesting, was the Two of Swords. Now, when I saw this card in this position, representing what they discovered about your thoughts toward them, I immediately understood something profound. This person went to get their reading, probably hoping for some reassurance, maybe hoping to hear that you still care, that you are still emotionally available to them, that they still have some hold on your heart. But what the reader told them completely shattered that illusion. The Two of Swords here is showing me that what they learned is that you have completely cut them off mentally and emotionally. You are no longer torn between loving them and protecting yourself. You are no longer in that painful space of indecision where you are weighing their apologies against their actions. You have made a decision, and that decision is final. The blindfold in the Two of Swords usually represents someone who cannot see clearly, but in your case, it represents something different. It represents your absolute refusal to look at them with the same eyes anymore. You have deliberately chosen to close that door, to stop seeing them as someone worthy of your emotional energy. What their reader probably told them is that you have achieved a state of complete emotional neutrality toward them. Not hatred, because hatred still means they matter enough to evoke strong feelings. Not anger, because anger still means you are engaged with them on some level. What you have achieved is something they fear much more than anger or hatred. You have achieved indifference. You have moved into a space where they simply do not matter anymore. They are not your concern, not your focus, not your problem. And when they heard this from their reader, when they understood that you have genuinely moved past them to the point where they are just not relevant in your emotional landscape anymore, that is when reality hit them like a freight train. I am seeing that this person probably spent so much time thinking they still had some kind of power over you. They probably thought that because they hurt you so deeply, because they were so significant in your pain, that they would remain significant in your healing too. They probably imagined you crying over them, missing them, wondering about them, hoping they would come back or apologize or acknowledge what they did. But what their reader told them is that you have done something they never expected. You have genuinely let go, not in a performative way, not in a way where you are pretending for their benefit, but in a real, deep, cellular way where they just do not occupy space in your heart or mind anymore. The energy of the Two of Swords here is also showing me something about protection. You have protected yourself by making this clear decision. You have protected your peace by refusing to remain in a state of confusion or hope about this person. You have drawn a line, you have erected a boundary, and it is absolute. There is no door they can knock on anymore, no window they can peek through, no emotional access point they can try to exploit. And this realization, when it came through in their reading, must have been devastating for them, because it means they have truly lost you. Not in some temporary way where they could win you back, but in a permanent way where you have fundamentally changed how you see them, and they cannot undo that. Let me tell you what came through next. and this one really painted a picture of their emotional state when they heard this information. The card that appeared was the Five of Swords. Now, this card traditionally represents conflict, defeat, and the hollow victory of winning through harmful means. And the energy here is so clear about what happened during their reading. When their reader started revealing the truth about your feelings, about your genuine thoughts toward them, they initially tried to defend themselves. They probably tried to justify their actions, tried to downplay what they did to you, tried to paint themselves as not that bad, or tried to convince the reader that surely you must still have some feelings for them. But the Five of Swords here is showing me that their reader basically held up a mirror and showed them the reality of what they did. This card represents someone who has won, but at what cost? They may have succeeded in hurting you, in breaking your trust, in causing you pain. They may have gotten away with their behavior for a while. But what they discovered in this reading is that their victory is completely empty. They did not win your love by hurting you. They did not secure your loyalty by betraying you. They did not make themselves important by making you suffer. All they did was lose something precious, lose someone who genuinely cared about them, and replace it with absolutely nothing of value. What I'm seeing here is that their reader probably asked them some hard questions. Questions like, what did you actually gain from treating this person this way? What do you have now that is better than what you had when you had their trust and love? And they had no answers. The Five of Swords is showing me that they are holding these swords, these weapons they used against you, and they are looking at them and realizing that these weapons did not bring them anything good. They are standing in the aftermath of the conflict they created, and they are alone, and they are empty, and they are starting to understand that they destroyed something beautiful for absolutely no reason. This card is also showing me something about their pride. The figure in the Five of Swords often has this smirk, this sense of having outsmarted everyone else. And I think this person probably carried that energy for a while. They probably felt clever for getting away with hurting you, for managing to avoid immediate consequences, for being able to move on quickly while you were still processing the pain. But what their reading revealed is that their cleverness was actually foolishness. Their apparent victory was actually a devastating loss. And their pride is now crumbling because they are being forced to confront the reality that they did not win anything. They just threw away something valuable. I am also getting that the Five of Swords here represents the moment in their reading when they realize they cannot argue their way out of this truth. They cannot debate or justify or rationalize their way into making what they did okay. The swords are laid bare, the truth is exposed, and there is no pretty way to dress up what they did to you. Their reader probably did not let them off easy, did not let them play victim, did not let them rewrite history. And being confronted with the unvarnished truth of their actions and the consequences of those actions in terms of losing you permanently, that is what brought them to their knees. Now, the next card that appeared really speaks to what they learned about how you have transformed through this experience. The Star card came through, and let me tell you, this one is beautiful in terms of what it reveals about you, but absolutely crushing for them in terms of what they lost. The Star represents hope, healing, renewal, and a return to faith after a dark time. What their reader told them is that you have not only survived what they did to you, you have actually used that pain as a catalyst for incredible personal growth and spiritual evolution. This is what they could not imagine. They probably thought that hurting you would diminish you somehow, would leave you broken or stuck or bitter. But what they discovered in their reading is that you have emerged from this experience more radiant, more authentic, more connected to your true self than ever before. The Star shows me that you have done deep healing work. You have processed your pain, you have learned your lessons, you have released what needed to be released, and you have stepped into a new version of yourself that is actually stronger and clearer and more aligned with your highest good. What their reader probably told them is that you are thriving, not in a fake way, not in a performance way, but in a genuine way. You have reconnected with your hope for the future. You have remembered who you are beyond this painful situation. You have found your way back to faith, whether that is faith in yourself, faith in the universe, faith in love in general. You have not let what they did to you close your heart permanently, or make you cynical, or destroy your essential nature. You have remained true to yourself while also developing better boundaries and stronger self-protection. The star is showing me that they learned you are literally glowing with new energy. You have healed your wounds, you have filled your own cup, you have become your own source of light and hope. And this realization that you did not need them to heal, that you did not need their apology or their return or their acknowledgement to move forward, this must have been shocking for them. Because I think part of them believed that they were so central to your life that you could not possibly be truly happy without them. But what their reading revealed is that not only are you happy without them, you are actually happier, more peaceful, more fulfilled than you were when they were in your life causing chaos and pain. I am also seeing with the star that what they learned is that you have genuine hope for your future now, and that future does not include them. You are looking forward to new possibilities, new connections, new experiences. You are open to love again, open to trust again, but you have learned discernment. You are no longer the person who would tolerate what they did to you. You have raised your standards, you have clarified your boundaries, and you have stepped into a version of yourself that simply would not accept someone like them into your life. This realization that they could not even get past your front door now because you have evolved beyond the level they are operating on, this must have been humbling in the most painful way. Let me share what came next because this really gets into the emotional impact this reading had on them. The card that appeared was Justice, and this one is so significant in this context. Justice represents truth, fairness, consequences, and karmic balance. What their reader revealed to them is that on a spiritual level, everything is being balanced. Every tear you cried is being accounted for. Every moment of pain they caused you is coming back to them in the form of consequences. The universe is not punishing them out of cruelty, but simply ensuring that they experience the energetic equivalent of what they put out into the world. What I am seeing with Justice here is that their reader probably explained to them how karma actually works. It is not about revenge or punishment in a vindictive sense. It is about learning, growth, and energetic balance. They created pain for you, and now they must experience their own version of that pain so they can understand what they did, so they can develop empathy, so they can grow as a soul. And what they learned about your thoughts toward them is that you understand this. You are not sitting around wishing harm on them or hoping they suffer. You have actually reached a point of spiritual maturity where you trust that the universe will handle the balance without your involvement. Justice is showing me that what they discovered is that you see them with absolute clarity now. You see exactly what they did, exactly why they did it, and exactly what it cost you. But you also see that trying to make them understand or trying to extract an apology or trying to get acknowledgement from them is not your job. Your job was to heal yourself, to learn your lessons, to grow from this experience. And their job, whether they want it or not, is to face the consequences of their choices and learn their own lessons. The Justice card reveals that you have released them to their karma. You are not holding on to resentment or bitterness because you trust that what needs to happen will happen without your interference. When their reader told them this, when they explained that you have essentially handed their situation over to the universe and moved on with your life, I think this is when they really started to understand the gravity of what they have lost. Because someone who has reached the level of spiritual understanding represented by the Justice card is not someone you can manipulate or guilt trip or win back with empty promises. You have aligned yourself with truth and fairness and integrity. You have chosen to operate from a higher level of consciousness, and they are still operating from the level where they hurt you, which means there is now a fundamental incompatibility between where you are and where they are in terms of spiritual growth. Justice also shows me that what they learned is that you no longer see them as the villain of your story. You see them as a teacher, as someone who showed you what you do not want, as someone who helped you clarify your values and boundaries, even though that lesson was painful. This perspective shift, where you have actually found gratitude for the growth that came from the pain while simultaneously having zero desire to reconnect with them. This is what their reading revealed. And this understanding probably made them realize that they cannot even position themselves as important in your life anymore. Not as a love, not as a loss, not as an enemy. They are simply someone who taught you something and then exited your story. That level of insignificance after they probably imagined themselves as so central to your emotional world, that must have been crushing. Now we are moving into something that reveals more about their internal state and what they are dealing with as a result of this reading. The Death card appeared, and I want you to understand what this represents in this context. This is not about physical death. This is about the death of their illusions, the death of their false narratives, the death of their ego constructs around this situation. What they learned in their reading is that the version of you they thought they knew, the person they thought they could come back to whenever they wanted, the connection they thought they could rekindle at their convenience, that entire reality is dead. It is gone. It has transformed into something completely different. The Death card is showing me that their reader probably explained to them that you have experienced a death and rebirth process. The old you, the you who would tolerate their behavior, the you who would give them multiple chances, the you who would prioritize their feelings over your own well-being. That version of you has died, and a new you has been born, someone who has different priorities, different standards, different boundaries, and this new you does not have space for them. This new you does not recognize their attempts at reconnection because you are literally a different person now operating from a different value system. What I am seeing is that this realization forced them to confront their own need for transformation. The Death card is also reflecting back to them that they need to let die their old patterns, their old behaviors, their old ways of treating people. They need to experience their own death and rebirth if they ever want to become someone who deserves the kind of person you have become. But transformation is hard. It is painful. It requires complete ego death and rebuilding from the ground up. And I think when they understood the level of change required in themselves, when they saw the gap between who they are and who they would need to be even be in your energetic vicinity, that is when the weight of their losses really hit them. Death is showing me that what they learned is that there is no going back. They cannot undo what they did. They cannot resurrect the old dynamic. They cannot revive your old feelings for them. Time has moved forward, you have moved forward, and everything has changed irrevocably. Their reading revealed to them that clinging to the past, hoping for reconciliation, fantasizing about getting another chance, all of that is just delaying their own necessary transformation. The old cycle is over, the old connection is dead, and they need to accept that and move forward with their own growth rather than trying to resurrect something that needs to stay buried. I am also getting that the Death card represents the death of their ability to deny reality. They cannot pretend anymore that what they did was not that bad. They cannot minimize the impact of their actions anymore. They cannot live in a fantasy where you are still pining for them. Their reading killed those comfortable lies and forced them to face the truth, which is always uncomfortable but ultimately necessary for growth. And I think the moment of falling to their knees that we are talking about, that moment of complete emotional breakdown, that happened when all these illusions died at once, and they were left with the raw truth of what they have lost and who they have become. The next card really speaks to their emotional turmoil after hearing all of this. The Six of Cups appeared, and this one shows me that a huge part of what devastated them in this reading is the realization of what they are nostalgic for, what they have lost in terms of genuine connection and pure love. The Six of Cups represents innocence, pure affection, genuine care, and the beauty of uncomplicated connection. What their reader revealed to them is that what you offered them was actually rare and precious. You gave them genuine care, real loyalty, honest affection, and they took that beautiful gift and they trampled on it. This card is showing me that during their reading, they probably had memories flooding back of how good you were to them, how patient you were, how much you cared, how deeply you loved them before they ruined it. The Six of Cups brings up this nostalgia, this longing for what was, this recognition of innocence lost. And what they learned is that you remember those times too, but you have made peace with the fact that what was beautiful then has been destroyed by their actions and cannot be recreated. You have honored those memories while also accepting that they belong to the past, and attempting to revive them would only create more pain. What I am seeing is that their reader probably told them about the purity of what you felt for them. And this is what broke them. Because when you hurt someone who loved you purely, who cared for you genuinely, who had no hidden agenda or manipulation, when you betray that kind of innocent trust, the guilt and regret that comes with understanding what you destroyed is absolutely devastating. They realized through this reading that what they had with you was not common, was not easily replaced, was not something they will find again with someone else. They had something real, something precious, something rare, and they threw it away for reasons that probably seem incomprehensible to them now. The Six of Cups is also showing me that what they learned is that you do not hate them, which might seem like a good thing, but is actually more painful for them. You look back at what you shared with a kind of bittersweet acceptance. You remember the good parts. You have gratitude for what you learned, but you have absolutely no desire to go back. This mature, peaceful relationship you have with the past, this ability to honor what was good while firmly closing the door on any future connection, this is what they discovered about your true feelings. And realizing that you have processed everything so completely, so healthily, that you can look at them with compassion but zero longing, this probably hurt them more than if you hated them. Because hate means you still care enough to feel strongly. This peaceful neutrality means you have truly moved on. I am also getting that the Six of Cups revealed to them that you have found or will find that innocent, pure love again, with someone who will cherish it, who will honor it, who will treat it as the gift it is. And knowing that someone else will receive the beautiful love they took for granted, that realization is its own kind of torture for them. Let me tell you about what came next, because this card really reveals their deeper realization about their behavior and its consequences. The Lovers card appeared, and before you think this means reconciliation, let me explain what this card actually revealed in their reading. The Lovers is about choices, alignment, and the consequences of choosing poorly. What their reader told them is that when they were with you, when they had your love and trust and loyalty, they were being offered a genuine choice. Choose love or choose ego. Choose connection or choose control. Choose partnership or choose selfishness. And they chose wrong. They chose their ego, their control, their selfishness. They chose to hurt you rather than honor you. They chose their momentary gratification or their need to feel powerful or whatever motivated their hurtful behavior over the genuine love and partnership you were offering. The Lovers card is showing me that their reading revealed to them the significance of the choice they made and cannot unmake. Every time they chose to lie, to betray, to hurt, to disrespect, they were actively choosing to destroy something beautiful. These were not accidents or mistakes or misunderstandings. These were choices, conscious or unconscious, and those choices have consequences. What I am seeing is that their reader probably explained to them that you have also made a choice. You have chosen yourself. You have chosen your peace over their presence. You have chosen healing over hoping they will change. You have chosen to align with people and situations that honor you, rather than clinging to someone who hurt you. And your choice is just as irreversible as theirs was. The Lovers card is showing that both people must choose each other. Both people must choose love. Both people must choose to honor the connection. And in this situation, they chose to destroy it and you chose to walk away from the destruction. Both choices were made, and now both people must live with the consequences. The Lovers also represents divine timing and spiritual alignment. What they learned in their reading is that there was a window, a period of time when you were aligned, when you were meant to be together, when the universe was supporting that connection, but they squandered that timing through their actions. They wasted the opportunity they were given. And now, that window has closed. The timing is wrong, the alignment is broken, the spiritual support for that connection has withdrawn. Even if they have changed or want to change, even if they have realized what they lost, the cosmic timing is no longer in their favor. You have moved into a different season of your life, a different frequency, and they cannot access that frequency anymore because they are not vibrating at that level. I am seeing that this understanding of lost timing, of missed opportunity, of squandered blessings really hit them hard during this reading. Because we always think we have more time. We always think we can fix things later. We always think the door will remain open forever. But their reading revealed that your door has closed and it is not opening again. The choice has been made, the timing has passed, and they must now face a future without you in it, while understanding that this future is entirely of their own making. Let me share another layer of what they discovered, because this next card really speaks to the protective energy around you and why they cannot reach you anymore. The Knight of Swords came through, and this card is fascinating in this context. The Knight of Swords represents swift action, cutting through illusions, decisive movement, and intellectual clarity. What their reader told them is that you have developed a fierce protection around yourself. You are no longer the person who can be approached with manipulation or guilt or false promises. This knight represents the speed with which you will cut off anything that threatens your peace. The energy their reader described to them is that you have become someone who acts swiftly and decisively when it comes to protecting yourself. If they tried to reach out, if they tried to worm their way back into your life, if they tried to use old tactics to get your attention, you would cut through their attempts with precision and speed. There would be no long contemplation, no agonizing over whether to respond, no giving them the benefit of the doubt. You would simply block, delete, move on. Swift, clean, final. The Knight of Swords is showing me that what they learned is that you have developed strong mental boundaries. You are clear about who you are, what you deserve, and what you will not tolerate. Your thoughts about them are not confused or conflicted. You have analyzed the situation, reached your conclusions, and those conclusions are firm. They cannot manipulate your perception anymore because you see them too clearly. They cannot play on your emotions anymore because you have processed those emotions and come out the other side. They cannot convince you to doubt your own judgment anymore because your judgment has been proven right by their actions. What I am seeing is that their reader probably described your energy as sharp, clear, no nonsense, absolutely unwilling to waste time on people who have proven themselves unworthy of your energy. And this description probably terrified them because it means there is no soft way back in, no emotional vulnerability they can exploit, no crack in your armor they can slip through. You have fortified yourself with truth, with clarity, with decisive action, and that fortification is impenetrable. The Knight of Swords also represents communication that is direct and cutting. What they learned is that if they somehow did manage to communicate with you, you would not be warm or open to hearing their excuses. You would be direct, blunt even, in setting boundaries. You would communicate your truth without softening it to spare their feelings. You have moved past the phase of trying to be nice about setting boundaries. Now, you are just clear, firm, and unapologetic about protecting your peace. And knowing that facing your clarity, your directness, your unwillingness to engage with nonsense would be the reception they would get if they tried to reach out, that probably made them understand that there is truly no hope of reconciliation. I am also getting that the Knight of Swords represents the way you have mentally moved on. You are not sitting around thinking about them, analyzing what went wrong, hoping for closure. Your mind has moved forward to new interests, new goals, new people who deserve your mental energy. You are actively pursuing your own path with speed and determination. And them being stuck thinking about you while you have mentally moved on so completely, that imbalance itself is part of their karma. Now, the final card that came through is really the culmination of everything they learned, and this one encapsulates why they fell to their knees. The High Priestess appeared, and let me tell you, this card represents the deepest truth of what you know and what their reading revealed to them that you know. The High Priestess is about intuition, hidden knowledge, spiritual wisdom, and deep inner knowing. What their reader told them is that you knew. You always knew. On some level, conscious or unconscious, you knew who they really were. You knew what they were capable of. You knew that they would hurt you. But here is what is profound about the High Priestess in this position. Despite knowing, despite your intuition warning you, you chose to give them a chance anyway, because that is who you are. You lead with love, you see the best in people, you offer grace and opportunity. But the difference between you then and you now is that having confirmed what your intuition was telling you, having seen them reveal exactly what your inner knowing suspected, you are never doubting that knowing again when it comes to them. Your intuition said they were not safe, and they proved your intuition right. And now your intuition says, stay away, and you are listening. What their reading revealed is that you have access to deep spiritual wisdom about this situation. You understand things on a level that goes beyond the surface drama. You see the karmic patterns, you understand the soul lessons, you recognize the spiritual purpose of this painful experience. You are not just someone who got hurt and is now bitter. You are someone who got hurt, did the work to understand why on a spiritual level, learned what you needed to learn, and emerged with greater wisdom and stronger intuition. And this level of spiritual maturity you have attained means they cannot fool you, cannot deceive you, cannot present a false version of themselves to you. You would see right through it because your intuition is now finely tuned and you trust it completely. The High Priestess is also showing me that what they learned is that you hold secrets, you hold knowledge, you understand things about them that they might not even understand about themselves. You see their wounds, their fears, their true motivations. And this seeing, this deep knowing of who they really are beneath the mask they show the world, this is power. But it is power you have no interest in using against them. You simply hold this knowledge quietly. You honor what you learned about human nature and about yourself through knowing them, and you move forward with greater wisdom. What I am seeing is that their reader probably told them that you are protected by something greater than just your own strength. You are protected by your connection to your intuition, to your spiritual guidance, to the universe itself. You are walking a path that is guided by higher wisdom, and that path does not include them. They cannot insert themselves into your journey because spiritually, you are being guided away from them towards something better. This realization that the universe itself is on your side, is protecting you from them, is steering you toward your highest good, which does not involve them, this was probably one of the hardest truths their reading revealed. The High Priestess also represents mystery and the unknown. What they learned is that they do not really know you anymore. You have depths they never took time to explore when they had the chance. You have grown in ways they cannot see. You have become someone mysterious, powerful, wise, and that person is a stranger to them. They realize now that they never truly knew you, never truly appreciated the depth and complexity and beauty of who you are. They saw a surface version. They interacted with a fraction of your full self. And now they have lost access to discovering the fullness of who you are. That mystery, that unrealized potential of knowing you deeply, that is lost to them forever. So here we are, Pisces. I have taken you through what their reading revealed, through what they learned about your true feelings and thoughts toward them. And the picture that emerges is absolutely powerful. They learned that you have moved on, not in a superficial way, but in a deep, spiritual, complete way. They learned that you see them with clarity, that you have processed your pain and transformed it into wisdom, that you have made a firm decision to leave them in the past, and that you are protected by your own strength, your intuition, and the universe itself. When they heard all of this, when their reader laid out the truth of how completely they have lost you and how much you have grown beyond them, that is when they fell to their knees. Because sometimes we do not understand what we have until it is gone. Sometimes we do not realize the rarity and preciousness of genuine love until we have destroyed it and can see clearly what we threw away. Sometimes we do not comprehend the consequences of our actions until those consequences are spelled out for us by someone who can see the spiritual truth of a situation. They went to this reading probably hoping for reassurance, hoping to hear that you still love them or miss them or would take them back eventually. Instead, they got a dose of reality that shattered every comfortable illusion they were holding on to. They learned that you are thriving without them, that you have reached a level of spiritual maturity they cannot access, that your feelings for them have transmuted from love to indifference, from pain to peace, from attachment to complete freedom. And the most powerful part? This is not about revenge or punishment from your end. This is simply the natural consequence of their choices, meeting the reality of your growth. You did not set out to hurt them by growing and healing. You simply focused on yourself, on your own well-being, on your own spiritual evolution. The fact that your growth and healing is painful for them to witness, the fact that losing you hurts them deeply, that is just karma playing out. That is the universe, ensuring that they understand the weight of what they did and the value of what they lost. I want you to know, Pisces, that if this reading resonates with you, if this feels like your situation, then everything I have shared today is confirmation of what you already know deep in your heart. You have done the work. You have healed. You have grown. You have moved on. And someone who hurt you is finally understanding what they lost. Not because you are trying to teach them a lesson, but simply because truth always comes to light eventually. Their reading, their revelation, their moment of falling to their knees, that is their journey. Your journey is forward, always forward, toward people and situations and opportunities that will honor the beautiful, powerful, wise person you have become. Trust your path, trust your intuition, trust that the universe is guiding you towards something so much better than what you left behind. Thank you for being here with me today, for allowing me to share this energy with you. I hope this brought you some clarity, some validation, some sense of peace, knowing that truth always prevails and growth is always worth it.